welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking you directly onto the convention center floor.
Right into the action.
Our mission today is to completely transform how you view trade shows. We want to help you shift from seeing them as this exhausting, costly obligation.
Or a passive company vacation.
Exactly. We want you to stop seeing them like that and start treating them as a highly calculated, ruthless, lead-generating machine.
And this shift in perspective is so critical right now because post-COVID, in-person trade shows are back in full swing.
Yeah, those mega convention centers in Vegas and Chicago are packed again.
But unfortunately, the missed opportunities have returned just as quickly. People are falling right back into their old, comfortable, and quite frankly, incredibly expensive bad habits.
To pull us out of those bad habits, we're using a really incisive guide on maximizing trade show returns. It was written by Rory Gagan, director at Redbox Direct.
It's a fantastic breakdown of the critical difference between active and passive participation.
It really is. And to understand why we need to radically change our behavior at these events, we first have to uncover the true, often completely hidden price tag of simply showing up.
Right. We have to move the conversation away from basic logistics and sort of enter the realm of high-stakes economics.
Because the numbers are wild.
They are. The sheer volume of capital required to just stand in a room with your competitors is staggering when you break down the line items.
So let's do that breakdown. Let's say we're looking at a typical larger industry show. Just to rent that tiny little square of concrete, the booth space, you're looking at a baseline of about $5,000.
And that $5,000 gets you literally empty air.
Nothing else.
Nothing. You still have to pay the venue's exclusive vendors for the furniture rental. You have to pay exorbitant fees just to plug in a power strip.
Oh, the electricity fees are crazy.
They are non-negotiable, and you even have to rent the carpet to cover the concrete.
And then comes the human element.
Yeah.
You have to get your people and your display materials all the way across the country.
Right, so you've got flights, inflated conference block hotel rates, daily per diems for food.
Taxes, plus the sheer logistical cost of freight shipping your displays and technical equipment there and back.
When you add it up, sending a single person to a 3-day trade show easily totals $10,000.
And a single person is rarely enough, right?
Never enough. You need coverage. If you send one person, the booth goes entirely unstaffed the moment they need to grab lunch.
Or take a phone call, or simply use the restroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you are forced to budget at least another $2,000 to $3,000 for a second representative.
So suddenly, a basic single booth with 2 employees is running your company a bill of $12,000 to $14,000.
Just to show up.
It is genuinely like throwing an incredibly expensive destination wedding, but instead of enjoying the party, you're desperately hoping the guests buy something from you.
Just to offset the exorbitant catering bill.
Right. But I can hear enterprise marketing managers pushing back on this. They'd say, okay, 14 grand is a lot for a small business, but for a mid-sized or enterprise company, that's just a line item in the Q3 budget.
They'd say you have an events budget for a reason.
Yeah, they just see it as the cost of doing business. So is that really the whole picture?
Well, viewing it merely as a line item completely ignores the economic reality of the situation. That $14,000 only accounts for the direct costs.
Okay.
To understand the true financial bleeding, we have to calculate the opportunity costs.
The economist's favorite concept.
Exactly. Every decision to commit time and money to a specific project fundamentally means saying no to something else.
And the most obvious opportunity costs here would be your top salespeople.
Yes. When they are away from their desk for nearly a week and you have to factor in travel days, the exhaustion of the show itself, and the inevitable recovery time, they are physically incapable of doing their normal day-to-day revenue-generating work.
They aren't qualifying their existing pipeline. They aren't pushing current contracts over the finish line.
Right. So you have to take that salesperson's payroll, their overheads for those specific days, and the revenue they mathematically would have generated during a normal week, and stack all of that on top of the direct costs.
Okay, I know exactly what some listeners are thinking, because I've heard sales reps say it 100 times. I can just keep on top of my inbox while I'm at the show. I'll do both.
Oh, the famous coasting myth.
Yeah.
This is a massive red flag for any sales manager. If a representative genuinely believes they can handle their normal daily workload while actively working a trade show floor, you have a severe problem.
Why is that?
Because it means one of two things is happening. Either the trade show is completely dead, there is zero foot traffic, And you shouldn't have spent the 14 grand to be there in the first place.
Which is awful.
Right. Or, conversely, they are entirely capable of coasting when they are back at their home office.
Wow. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, if they have enough free time in their normal schedule to absorb a 3-day trend show without dropping the ball on their core tasks, they should be generating significantly more output on a normal Tuesday.
That makes total sense. You simply cannot give 100% of your cognitive focus to the show floor and 100% to your remote pipeline simultaneously.
You just can't.
So let's put some concrete math to this scenario to
Oh,
really
great.
illustrate the point. Say our direct costs hit that $12,000 mark,
Okay, 12,000 direct.
and we calculate a conservative estimate for our indirect opportunity costs, the lost time, the halted pipeline, at, let's say, $6,000.
So we have now invested $18,000 in this single event.
$18,000 is the true baseline.
Now we have to measure the return. Let's say your 2 representatives work the floor hard. They fly home with 60 leads in total.
That sounds like a pretty good haul.
It does, but let's break it down. 30 of those are strong, qualified leads, and 30 are weak leads.
We probably need to define the difference there, because a lead isn't just a lead.
Oh, definitely not.
A weak lead is like someone who let you scan their badge purely so they could enter your raffle for a free iPad.
Yes, they politely nodded during your pitch, but they have no budget, no authority, and no immediate project.
Whereas a strong lead has an active pain point and the capital to solve it.
Exactly, and the behavioral reality of a convention floor dictates that weak leads have a drastically lower conversion rate.
Right.
In standard modeling, you assume 3 weak leads mathematically equate to the pipeline value of a single strong lead.
So it takes 3 polite badge scans to equal the potential revenue of 1 active buyer.
Yes. So we take those 30 weak leads, divide by 3, and get the equivalent of 10 strong leads.
Okay, so 10 strong equivalents plus our actual 30 strong leads.
Which means our $18,000 investment yielded exactly 40 strong leads.
And the final calculation is where the reality check really happens. You take your $18,000 total investment and you divide it by those 40 strong leads.
Which comes out to,
$18,000 divided by 40 is $450.
let that sink in.
Every single time you shake hands with a qualified prospect under those fluorescent lights, it essentially costs your company $450 to facilitate that specific handshake.
It is staggering. That single metric completely changes the psychological relationship you have with the convention floor.
It really does. Because when you are fully aware that every meaningful conversation costs nearly $500, passive participation feels like corporate sabotage.
You can no longer justify just standing behind a table hoping someone finds your brochure aesthetically pleasing.
Right. If every handshake costs a small fortune, you are starting the event in a massive financial hole. You can't just arrive and wing it.
No, the strategy to drive down that $450 cost has to begin weeks before you even pack your bags.
So since every lead is costing us a fortune, preparation is really our active participation.
Exactly. And the most effective preparation starts with a highly practical exercise, an in-office rehearsal.
Like actually setting up the booth.
Yes. You must physically set up your booth in your own office space, tape out the 10 by 10 square on the carpet, and put up every display element you plan to bring.
That's brilliant, because it forces you to violently curate your display. It totally prevents the visual noise that ruins so many exhibits.
It really does. You see companies constantly throw every single product, banner, and piece of marketing collateral they own onto a folding table, expecting a stampede of interested buyers.
It's like packing your entire closet for a 2-day weekend trip instead of just picking out a couple of sharp outfits.
That is a perfect comparison. Overpacking a booth creates overwhelming visual noise. When you present an attendee with 15 different focal points, their brain registers it as clutter.
They experience decision fatigue before they even stop walking.
So they just keep moving. By rehearsing in the office, you give yourself the physical space to realize the core message is getting lost here. We need to strip this down to the one specific solution this audience cares about.
Right, because the passerby needs to understand your value proposition within 3 seconds.
Tops.
So once you have that physical booth tightened up, you move to the pre-show marketing. Because you absolutely cannot rely entirely on organic foot traffic to hit your lead target.
Relying on organic traffic is a huge gamble. You have to manufacture your own momentum by hunting down the attendees before they even book their flights.
Like buying the official pre-registered attendee list.
Buying the official list from the show organizers is highly recommended.
But event organizers know the value of that list, and they charge a premium for it. What if your department won't approve the budget to buy the official list?
Then you have to get creative. You put on your detective hat and dig up last year's attendee list.
Is that even possible?
Oh, yeah. It is almost always freely available online in press releases, old event apps, or cached web pages. And the reality of niche B2B industries is that 80 to 90% of the people attending this year's event will be the exact same people who attended the previous year.
That is a great hack. So you start running targeted outreach based on that historical data.
You invite your current prospects in the region. You lock in face-to-face meetings for Tuesday morning before the doors even officially open.
Because every pre-scheduled meeting is a guaranteed mechanism to drive down that $450 per lead cost.
Exactly. So the preparation sets the stage. You have a curated, visually striking booth and a calendar full of pre-booked meetings.
But how do you convert that pre-show momentum into actual human engagement once the doors open?
This brings us to the physical psychology of the floor, specifically body language. The absolute cardinal sin of any trade show environment is the laptop shield.
Oh, I've seen this everywhere.
Picture the sightlines of a typical aisle. An attendee is walking down the carpet, looking into various booths. They look into yours, and your salesperson is sitting down, often with their body partially turned away from the aisle, aggressively typing emails on an open laptop.
It sends an incredibly hostile, closed-off message. It screams, "Do not interrupt me. I am very busy doing real important work, and you are a distraction."
It creates a physical barrier to entry. But let's look at the reality of the situation. The salesperson isn't doing it to be malicious.
All right, I'll play devil's advocate here. 3 days on a concrete convention floor is physically exhausting.
It's grueling.
The sensory overload from the noise, the lights, the constant small talk, it drains your social battery.
Yeah.
Can't I just take 5 minutes to sit down, clear out a few urgent emails, and mentally recharge?
The physical exhaustion is very real. But we have to overlay our brutal math onto that 5-minute break.
Right, the $450.
Exactly. The exact moment you look down at your screen to delete 3 spam emails is the exact moment a highly qualified prospect walks past your booth. They see you looking down, they subconsciously feel like they would be bothering you, and they keep walking straight over to your competitor's booth.
Ouch.
You just paid $450 for the privilege of clearing out your inbox.
That's a painful way to look at it. You can answer emails from the hotel room at night. The floor is exclusively for active, open posture engagement.
Always.
But standing at the booth isn't the only way to engage, is it? To really maximize the investment, there's a secret weapon.
Yes, hacking the poster sessions. This tactic requires understanding the structure of technical, scientific, or academic adjacent conferences.
How does that work?
Well, in these environments, researchers or industry professionals will present their recent data on large physical posters in a dedicated hall. Attendees walk around, review the methodology, and discuss the findings directly with the presenter.
And historically, the corporate sales teams stationed in the vendor hall completely ignore this part of the conference. They view it as purely academic territory.
They assume no active buying happens there, which is a massive strategic error. It is entirely free, hyper-targeted marketing.
So what does the active participant do?
They research the poster session schedule weeks in advance. They identify the specific presentations covering topics that directly relate to their product or service.
Ah, and this is why we budgeted for 2 representatives. One person maintains that open, welcoming posture at the main booth, ensuring you never miss organic traffic.
And the other representative deploys straight to the poster hall. The psychology of the interaction there is completely different from the vendor floor.
You don't walk up to a researcher and launch into a corporate pitch, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
You walk up and ask highly specific, insightful questions about their methodology. Something like, I noticed your variance in the secondary data set. How are you handling the throughput on that?
You validate their hard work. You stroke their egos slightly by showing genuine interest in their specific niche.
And you make them want to explain their process to you. Through that academic conversation, the researcher will inevitably bring up the pain points of their current equipment or software.
And that is when you seamlessly introduce your solution. Or, minimally, you ensure they know exactly who you are and where your booth is located.
You basically engineer an organic referral engine.
That's so smart. Because when another attendee comes up to their poster an hour later and asks how they got such clean data, the researcher enthusiastically says, Oh, I was just talking to the vendor who makes a tool that automates this. They are right over in aisle 4.
It carries the massive psychological weight of peer endorsement, and it costs you absolutely zero additional dollars. You are leveraging the intellectual capital of the conference in your favor,
Okay, so you are hacking the poster sessions, your booth is welcoming, and you are having dozens of high-quality conversations. You are gathering a massive amount of intelligence.
which leads to the most critical operational task on the floor.
Quality note-taking. Because just collecting a business card isn't enough.
It's completely useless. Collecting business cards or scanning digital badges creates a false sense of accomplishment. Having 60 identical business cards stacked on your hotel desk at the end of the day gives you no context.
You have no way of distinguishing between the buyer with an active budget and the guy who just wanted a free branded stress ball.
Quality note-taking is non-negotiable. You must develop a system to immediately rate how hot the lead is. You need to document their specific pain points, their current vendor, and highly specific contextual details the moment they walk away.
Surviving the floor and gathering all this intel is great, but the actual return on investment is decided entirely by what happens when you get back to headquarters.
The follow-through is where the revenue is actually realized.
So personalized follow-up.
Yes. The speed and the personalization of your post-show outreach dictate your final conversion rate. If you just dump all those badge scans into your marketing software and blast out a generic email,
Like, thanks for stopping by our booth. Here's a link to our standard pricing.
you are actively throwing away your investment. A generic follow-up email is a surefire way to get deleted. It signals to the prospect that they are just a number in a spreadsheet.
Which is why those meticulous floor notes become your most valuable asset.
Exactly. You use the specific details from the conversation to trigger the human psychological desire to reciprocate quality engagement.
The source material provides a wonderfully specific, almost hilarious example of how to execute this.
The specificity is what makes it so effective.
It suggests dropping in a detail like, I recall you were interested in measuring XXX from neonatal rodents.
Neonatal rodents.
I just love the mental image of a highly paid corporate salesperson meticulously typing out a follow-up email specifically referencing baby rats.
Yeah.
But nothing says, I was listening, quite like remembering someone's specific interest in baby rodents.
It proves you aren't an automated drip campaign. You are a human being who paid attention to their unique needs.
And that deep level of human connection is what turns a $450 badge scan into a $100,000 enterprise contract.
The emails are sent, the meetings are booked, and the revenue starts trickling in. But there is one final, rigorous step required: the debrief.
You have to sit down and evaluate the entire endeavor ruthlessly. You calculate your lead acquisition rate, or LAR.
The LAR is the ultimate metric of trade show viability. You take the cost per lead, which was $450 in our scenario, and you divide it by the gross margin per sale.
Let's run a hypothetical on that. Let's say we are selling a software subscription, and our final gross margin is only $500 per new sale.
Okay.
If it cost us $450 just to acquire the lead at the trade show, we are barely breaking even.
You spent months preparing, flew across the country, stood on your feet for 3 days, and spent $18,000, all to make $50 of actual profit per closed deal.
That is a terrifying reality check. If the LAR exposes margins that thin, what do? Just try harder next year.
No, if the LAR proves the math doesn't work, the solution is not to try harder. The solution is to completely dump the show. You walk away.
You just cut it from the budget entirely and pocket the massive savings.
You accept that the specific demographics of that show do not align with your business model. You reclaim those opportunity costs.
By actively measuring the real financial return, you stop doing things simply because we've always gone to that convention.
Transitioning from a passive attendee to an active participant isn't just about smiling more. It's a rigorous, measurable process of prep, engagement, and ruthless follow-up.
As we bring this deep dive to a close, I want to leave you with a new angle to ponder that builds on what we've discussed today.
The underlying logic of opportunity costs applies everywhere, right?
Exactly. If calculating the true opportunity cost and lead acquisition rate can expose an $18,000 trade show as a waste of time, what would happen if we applied that exact same brutal financial math to our everyday internal company meetings?
Oh, that's a brilliant thought. If you calculate the hourly salary of the 8 people sitting in a conference room for an hour and add the opportunity cost of the deep work they are unable to do,
The numbers escalate incredibly quickly. How many weekly status check-ins would we immediately cancel if we realized what they were actually costing us? Just like that empty patch of carpet on the convention floor, the most expensive failures in business are often the silent ones.
It is definitely something to calculate before you hit accept on your next recurring calendar invite.
Keep questioning the hidden costs of business as usual, and we will catch you next time on The Deep Dive.